من زينة الإيمان أن السلام حياة، قد جاء في القرآن أن السلام.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to iTREND on ITV. I'm your host, Zaheerah Bham Ismail. We do apologize for the slight delay in starting, but we promise you we've got a show for you that will literally have you very excited, because we're changing the way you are going to be talking about scarves, seeing scarves and draping scarves. My scarf has been draped by the fabulous Wasima from Style Explorer, who will be on our segment later in the show to teach you how to get the perfect scarf draping, which we know we all struggle with on a regular basis. This week I've been following on Instagram, and there are so many phenomenal and fabulous ladies in our community who are making so many great strides. Two of them that I've really enjoyed watching their pages has been Rashika Jackson, who is part of the Facebook group, and also Shazia Mullah, who recently chaired a panel of leadership conference for women at Deloitte. And it was remarkable to see Muslim women at the forefront and leading these discussions and leading these panels. And I think it's wonderful when we see Muslim women standing up for all of us, because it becomes a voice for us all. So when you see these fabulous women doing anything, please do tag me so that I can follow up on it as well. I was also at HMA, How to Muslim Academy, for Spelling Bee contest earlier this week, and it's wonderful to see Muslim schools achieving so much, buildings looking so fantastic, and achieving levels of excellence. So hats off to all these Muslims who are putting excellence in the forefront. And with that, on the note of excellence, I'd like to welcome my first guest in studio, Miss Zaheerah Bham, who is from The Edge. A styling concept and a scarf concept that is new to us all, but we'll chat a little bit further with her about it. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the studio.
Wa alaikum assalam, Zaheerah.
It's so wonderful to have you on here. When I first came across your company called The Edge, it was so wonderful to see that it was something that was made in South Africa. I think we often see scarves that are imported in. We're never sure about the quality. We're always buying online. We're buying from people around us. But this is something that is made here. First, tell me about yourself, and then we're going to go into your journey with the scarf. Who is Zaheerah Bham?
I am a designer, alhamdulillah, and I love, I'm a
Yeah, when did you start your designing journey?
I started my designing journey 20 years ago. I studied design at Technical College in Germiston, and I took a long break, 15-year break. I started this company last year, March.
Why the need for scarves? Where did you feel the need on your designing journey? I've seen your work online. I've seen your work at a few events. You can put design into so many things. Why decide to put it into a scarf?
I just thought there was a gap in the market for this, and also last year, Ramadan Eid, my sister needed a scarf, and we couldn't match a scarf to her dress. And I said, wow, you know, this is an idea. But prior to that, I met a Lebanese designer, and her name is Lubna. And I saw her paintings, and her paintings were transformed onto fabrics. And I said, this is what I should look into. I was really inspired by her. So my daughters and I, we researched a lot and found ways to come up with something like this. So obviously, there's many different methods of printing onto scarves. You get the silk screening, all the different, but digital printing is the in thing. I contacted a family friend of ours, and his wife. They run a sports manufacturing business in Fitas.
Yes.
And he got me going with it, and alhamdulillah, the ideas of the scarves were born. So my sister had amazing scarf for Eid.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
And how do you come up with your designs? I'm going to open one of these because I think they're absolutely beautiful, not just the colors of the fabric, but the fabric itself is absolutely beautiful. I was saying to Asia earlier that, you know, I often used to struggle with wearing silk scarves because I find that they fall off, but I'm watching how hers has been draped by Wasima and nothing has moved. So tell me how you come up with the ideas of what you're putting onto the scarves. These are absolutely wonderful. The quality is amazing.
I think it's just, I love color, I love different styles, I love bold, I love simple, and the thought of putting this together came when I looked around it. Allah loves beauty all over. Allah loves color, shapes, texture, And so that's what we decided. That's how we put the range together. If you see this text, there's obviously different kind of shapes, geometric flowers.
Yes.
And we thought, why not dress Muslim women beautifully?
Absolutely, and that's exactly what I keep saying, is that we're a form of excellence. Someone said to me, oh, Muslim women, it always looks like a fashion show, and I said, no, you're highly mistaken. We just dress beautifully, consistently. Alhamdulillah. How do you change your themes of what you're printing according to different seasons, or according to what's trending at the moment?
Sometimes what's trending at the moment, but you know, anything that catches my eye. Anything that catches my eye, and I take that into consideration, and vibrant people around me with vibrant personalities and strong women, that kind of thing. So it's not only what's trending and colors. Like you can see, all the colors aren't trending, but I love color, splashes of color.
I think, you know, you said something now about taking inspiration from just strong, inspiring women. And I think we're so blessed in our community to be surrounded by so many of those women. And I love the fact that that's become part of your inspiration of putting this onto fabric.
My mother is a strong woman.
Alhamdulillah.
She's been a single mother for many years, and I get that creativity from her. And whether my daughter's got the creativity, and yeah. So what I like about this is also, it's not just scarves. There's a lot of things that goes behind the scarf, a lot of ideas. I call it functional art. I'm passionate about functional art. So what we've done is we've transformed ideas and designs onto these scarves. Yeah, I am passionate about that.
I love how you call it functional art, and the fact that you've made it real. You've made your inspirations real. You speak about your mum being a very inspirational source. You've mentioned that your daughter is part of this. This sounds very much like it's been a family journey.
It has, Zaheerah. It has been a family business. When we put this range together, I got my husband involved, my children, friends, family, my sisters, my nieces. It was just one big operation that we put together. Overnight, all this had come. Without them, I wouldn't have been here. So part of this journey, it tells a story. It tells an amazing story, alhamdulillah.
And what's lovely is all the success stories we've heard, all the people who've ever sat on that chair have always spoken about it being a group effort, have spoken about it being with support from other people. And I think that's a success of an entrepreneur, is you realize that as much as it's your vision, you need a lot of people to help you see that vision through. It's never done alone.
Yeah.
And how's it like being working as a family? Because sometimes that could be a very difficult journey to cross.
It is. My kids say I'm a slave driver, but yeah, they've been quite in the game, alhamdulillah. And also I've given opportunity to some of my family members, my sister who's wanting to do stuff for a very long time, you know, got them stitching and folding and packaging. My daughter's friend who was highly pregnant at the time. So my friend who had printed it was just on the roll all the time, you know, until the finishing product. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So when we come back after the ad break, we are going to be speaking about other products that the Edge keeps, but also about how the process begins from start to end of giving you a perfectly curated, proudly South African scarf. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back after that ad break. We are chatting to Zaheerah Bham from The Edge. Asya, tell us a little bit more about these scarves. What is the process from start to finish till the time your customer receives it?
Okay, it was fun sourcing the fabric for the scarves. The background of the scarf fabric is white, and the process of it is well, obviously my daughter Fatima had to do the designs for me. I told, well, she digitally designed each and every one of the scarves. If you can, a lot of time went into it. The patterns, the shapes, all of that, the different colors. So first I had to get the artwork done by her.
Yes.
And then I had to go to my to the printer.
Yes.
And yeah, so she had done all the artwork, 2-size scale and all of it.
That's what I also love. They're perfect for draping.
Yeah, they're perfect.
Because you seldom find silk scarves that are so long.
Yeah, yeah. They are perfectly long. You can wear them any way you want to. So the process is, once the artwork was completed by Fatima, I took it to my printer, and they had downloaded it onto the system, and it was printed onto a roll of paper. and the fabric was pre-shrunk at 180 degrees, and the paper was rolled onto the was placed onto the fabric, and it went through a machine where the dye had gone onto the fabric. So that was a process.
So you had to have quite a strong knowledge of knowing how the processes work before you put the pen to paper and actually make this happen.
Yeah, the machines are quite long. They look almost like the old knitting needle, the knitting machines that you would find. Yeah.
Oh, this one's another fabulous scarf. I absolutely love the colors in this one and the patterns. It's something so different and so unique. How many of these scarves are made to keep it a unique South African flavor for each person that buys it?
Well, we've made, I think, 10 of each.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we didn't. We just want to keep a limited range, so not everybody's wearing the same thing until something exciting comes along.
And you said that this inspiration started somewhere. It had to have started. You've got the design bug. It's something that's always been a part of you. Yeah. But I'm sitting here on our table. Besides these magnificent scarves, I see some beautiful bags there as well. Tell me about the story behind these bags.
Okay, these bags are soft perspex bags, and the idea of it came for my daughter Fatima's exhibition at college last year for design in Durban in Cape Town earlier this year. And I looked at her and I said, well, she needed to take something to the exhibition, and the idea of the soft perspex came into mind. And I stitched them all by myself, 200 of them in 2 weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
She loves typography, so she's added typography to her bags.
It's fantastic.
So, yeah, we did well with them. Alhamdulillah, it was something trendy and different.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, all this started from what my kids want, actually. And she also mentioned that she needs an evening bag, you know. And I said, why not? Let's now make an evening bag out of this.
So this is why you need creative mothers at home, so that when you run short of evening bags, your mother can just hop into a studio and make you want to go after. So you started off just making things for your family. Yeah. And then this, if I'm not mistaken, was the start of where the design had begun.
Yes, this was the start of where the design began.
And then you moved on to the scarves.
And then I moved on to the scarves.
And then I know that you're expanding your range on a regular basis as well. Where is the edge going? What are you trying to put? I know it's a proudly South African brand. I love the fact, because I love supporting local brands. I love the fact that we are promoting people in our market. How far do you see this going?
I see it going in different directions, because I can't sit with one product for too long. My mind is overworking all the time. So it will lead in many different directions, inshallah. Inshallah.
I love it's a pity that none of you can feel the quality of the scarves, but I'm sure you will when you can get them. But it is absolutely fabulous. The ideas, the colors, it's very on trend at the moment. And I love the fact that it's so diverse. There's something for every single person in here.
Yeah, there is. Well, I would like to show you this scarf does tell a story. This is where it began. Yeah.
Tell me this one. Is like this the original story?
This is the original story, making a scarf for my sister, and this is where it started.
So this is the beginning.
Yes. And also the process of the scarf, it's just 4 colors, your primary colors, and that's how it's, the computer catches the colors, and that's how it's printed out into these amazing colors.
They're absolutely beautiful. Like you were saying also, is that you get inspiration between you and your daughter, and you both come up with this and you put it together, which I love the fact that it also gives you that time to bond with each other.
Also my daughter, Amina, she's been doing my social media, running that account for me, so it's a whole family project.
I love it. And I know your husband's also involved, because we've seen him at the markets helping out as well.
He's a salesman, so he can sell anything.
There has to be. How do people find out more about it? How do people get in touch with you? Because with many of the markets, finding your placement online, finding your space where people can get access to it, how has that worked?
Well, Halal Goods Market was a platform for me. So from there, alhamdulillah, Instagram, various ways, alhamdulillah, people, and the pop-ups. Obviously, the pop-ups helped a lot. So that's how word of mouth and the business growing.
And your response from people who've purchased your items, what has been the public feedback?
Alhamdulillah, it's been amazing. Just in winter, I've designed a range of capes with perspex, you know, and some of the ladies were, how do you wear this? And it was amazing. There were 2 daring ladies who had actually bought a transparent raincoat, a transparent cape. You can see everything through. And a young girl from Lens, I had done a fur jacket and added this perspex to it, and so different elements, and Yeah, the feedback was amazing, and they're looking for different things, unique. My brand is unique. It has an edge over others, you know. You won't find what I have anywhere else.
That's it, and I think what everybody is looking for is something that makes them look different or sets them apart from everything else, which is wonderful that you're able to provide that.
Yeah.
As a Muslim woman, you are in a market that is providing a niche market with design, with excellence, with making sure that we carry our hijabs with grace and with dignity. How do you feel knowing that you're also in the forefront of things, that you are setting trends? You're not just following them, but you're setting them.
That's a tough question because everybody sees things differently. I may have a reason for wearing how I do, others wear it for the reasons they have. So I always say you can't always be trendsetters. Everybody has their own unique style. And
that's what makes you a trendsetter, I think, is to actually know that and to be able to embrace it and say, this is my style and I'm going with this.
Yeah, it's like I'm into currently street style, and that's just developing your personality. It's all about your personality. So that's what I like. People must wear what they are comfortable with.
But having said that, and having earlier said that you draw inspiration from the woman around you, and that, how do you keep up and continuously evolve the range that you're providing to people?
Alhamdulillah, like I said, inspiration is everywhere. Anything could bring that about.
Alhamdulillah. So I'm sure we're going to be looking forward to seeing a lot more from The Edge. And I have no doubt you just need to follow the Instagram pages to see how it's constantly evolving and what's coming up on a regular basis. And I'm sure people would love to know how to access it as well, because they make wonderful gifts.
They do, Alhamdulillah. The response was very good, Alhamdulillah.
So we look forward to seeing what you've got in store for us coming up.
Inshallah.
And I know just sitting and chatting to Asya, there's definitely a lot more in plan, because as she speaks, you can almost see the wheels turning of what the next design will be in place and what she's going to be coming up with next. May your design spirit and creative spirit always be nurtured, inshallah.
Ameen.
And may you grow to many, many more successes.
Ameen.
So, we look forward to seeing a lot more from you, but we thank you so much for coming on air and sharing your journey with us, and also letting us know what it's like for entrepreneurs out there and how deep the processes do go in terms of being able to give a quality product. Shukran.
Jazakallah.
It's been such a pleasure chatting to Sister Zaheerah Bham from The Edge. You need to follow her on Instagram, find out what she's doing, see the products that are available. And what I absolutely love is that it's yet another proudly South African, fabulous brand that's coming out from someone within our community. Show some support, go out there, and let's make more of this happen. And I have no doubt that if there are any of you out there who'd like to follow in the same light, give her a message, send her a message, give her a call. She was more than happy to share so much of her information with us on air. I have no doubt she'll be willing to share it with you as well. Stay tuned. When we come back after the ad break, we'll be discussing different styling techniques with Wasima from the Style Explorer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to iTREND on ITV. I'm your host, Zaheerah Bham Ismail. For these next two segments, we are chatting to Style Explorer Wasima, who is going to be chatting to us about different styles of how to put our scarf together. She's absolutely fabulous. The first time I saw her, I couldn't get over how graceful and elegant she looked, because her scarf is always draped so nicely, but nothing ever moves. And if you are like me, you'll know that I'm constantly redoing my scarf on a regular basis, because I never know the tips and tricks of always just making sure it stays in place and it looks elegant and neat. So we made sure she came into our studio today to give us a little bit about it. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the studio.
Wa alaikum assalam. Jazakallah for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you here. Whenever I see hijab styling being hashtagged now on Instagram, your name seems to come up repeatedly with it. Tell us the story behind Style Explorer.
That's a good thing. I really didn't know it was coming up, so that's a great thing.
Alhamdulillah.
Style Explorer started off actually when I was trying to get a username for Twitter, to be honest. And I was exploring style. I was really interested in what's unique about each person and what makes them stand out, and in terms of style. And I was really inspired by Indonesian and Malaysian women, for example, and their scarf styling. So around that time, it was Style Explorer. And then that's when I decided, you know what, I'm exploring style. So why not? You know, I can't go explore style, so I'll Style Explorer. And that's when I came up with that name. And so I used it for my blog as well.
Tell me about your blog.
My blog is really about fashion, hijab, beauty, makeup, lifestyle, pretty much everything and anything I'm interested in. And pretty much, I guess, whatever the 21st century Muslimah is interested in. It's just about me trying to help, make things a little bit easier. So I basically connect retailers, scarf retailers, and food people, for example, the food industry, all sorts of people, with their clients.
But why started? Why put yourself out there? Where did you find the need, or how did you see this need for the space that you are now in?
I think I wasn't really thinking it was going to be this big. I just really wanted to help people. That was my main motive, and always will be my motive. I felt like I was, one of those girls who really didn't know what was going on. Where to get the latest makeup, where to get the latest clothes, the scarves, what is the scarf style that's in, And I felt there were a lot of women out there who were like that. So I started unraveling hijab styling, and I started unraveling and decoding how you could, do things better and, get around and get to where you need to get to. So that's when I decided, okay, you know what, I need to amplify my message, and I need to be able to get out there to more people, and that's when I decided with the blog. Yeah.
How do you constantly evolve the different types of scarf styling? Because I always find that, well, now it's completely different because we have access to Instagram and social media, and we see people like yourself on there. But before, there was a certain way to tie your scarf, and everybody tied it that way. Then you went
the square scarf.
Yes, the square scarf. And then, which is why I love the edge silk scarves. I've never seen silk scarves that long. And I said to her before, I always struggled because they were so small. And now when I saw hers, they're these long, beautiful ones that you can drape. But then we got caught into this draping of the scarf the same way. But now we're seeing so many other ways of being able to drape our scarves. I was at a function where I didn't even know I was meant to wear another outfit, and then ended up meeting Wasima, where she just came there and said, let me drape your scarf, and drape my scarf so beautifully. And I thought in my head as she was draping it, she has no idea how this is never going to work. It's going to be falling off my head in 2 minutes. But nothing moved, and everything looked so elegant and so graceful. And that's what I think is always so synonymous with hijab, is about how graceful and elegant it looks. How do you always find these different scarf styles that stay so beautifully?
I think sometimes you need to keep things simple. Sometimes it's just a little or a few, as I'm going to be demonstrating, it's just 1 or 2 things that you can tweak, or just a few things that you can change, and you completely change your style. Even with your scarf fabric as well, different scarf fabrics will behave differently as well. You got to let it do what it wants to do.
Yes.
You can't make a stiff design out of something that's very soft and flowy. So so you pretty much just go with your gut, and then you play around with the fabric as well.
Because you hopefully will be telling us also about which styles of scarves fabrics are able to be used on on different styles. Because I think many of us get caught on that we see a scarf we like, and unfortunately once we put it on, it just doesn't hold the way we want it to, or it doesn't sit the way we need it to.
Exactly. The other thing is that lots of people, for occasions for instance, they would always choose a new type of scarf that they've never worn before. Like, for example, a lot of people wear knit scarves. They find knit scarves very comfortable. So for an occasion, they might choose satin, and they have no idea what to do with it the day before.
I'm one of those people.
And then, so you end up looking a bit clumsy, or the scarf is not put together, or it tends to fall at the occasion, and you don't want that. So I would always say, with regard to scarf styling, you always should practice way before the occasion, and don't try new fabrics. Rather become an expert, or rather, become an expert on that scarf fabric, and then you can move on to other things as well, and do it beforehand.
And then what I love about the segment today about the scarf styling is not everybody's comfortable with the turban. I know I wear it often, I'm comfortable with it, but I have very many friends who say to me it's just not something that works for them, and they do prefer the scarf. But what I'm also noticing is the way you've draped my scarf today and the way you've draped yours is I don't feel the heaviness of the scarf. And especially in this heat that we're currently having, you're not feeling like anything's claustrophobic or it's too difficult. So do you actually look at that as well when you're doing different scarf styling? Because I see you've got a huge range of scarf styling. Does it actually go according to seasons the way you're doing it, or just what's trending? How do you keep up to date with that?
At one point, I thought I was old-fashioned, so it's not at all. I do look at current trends, but most of the time I just play with my scarves. Sometimes I feel a lot of the time like the scarves tend to be pinned in the front, and then they choke your neck a lot. I'm sure you felt that. A lot of people do. So that's when I decided, no, I need to find styles that don't involve, going around the neck too much, or lots of people actually want it loose around the neck. And with turban styles as well, I also do turbans where I cover the neck. Lots of people want neck coverage as well with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. So you've always kept it and you've kept this niche market. How do you find yourself evolving on a continuous basis as Style Explorer?
It's not easy. It's not easy. You do have to keep at it. I think it's mostly about your passion. If your passion is there and you put more of your passion out, it automatically, I think it attracts others, and people want to know more, and that's how you pretty much advance. And then at the same time, with the advancement, you meet other people and you learn from them as well, and you grow. Because I would not consider myself an expert. I constantly consider myself as a beginner all the time, so that I learn that way. I investigate, I learn constantly. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking a very quick ad break. I think what Wasima's just said now about not considering herself an expert, we do see her as the expert on it. But what I love about saying something like that is you know that there's always room to learn and there's always room to improve, and that shows you when somebody is reaching levels of perfection, because they always see it as room for improvement, but we see them as beacons of light for us. Stay tuned. When we come back, we are going to be showing you various ways that you can drape your scarf during these summer months. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're giving you what we promised you, and that's different scarf styles with the beautiful Nabila Khan. Nabila, I think you are the perfect model for these scarf stylings. Wasima, please go ahead and show us.
Okay, so I'm going to start with an everyday style. We're going to go through the first style that everyone knows.
You have to see Wasima's hand. She's got a little bubble there with all the pins on it on a headband. That's very
it's bouncing
impressive.
around, yeah. So the normal way that anyone would drape a scarf, if you have to look at this here, we'd normally take from this part of the head and we would just go up, and then we'd probably just take on that way.
Yes.
Right? So now instead of that, if you change just one thing, you can completely transform your scarf style. Now don't take this edge, rather take this edge that's here.
Okay.
So this is the edge you're going to take in, and then you can have a look at what the style looks like.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Can you see the draping is very different?
It
So now
completely changes it.
Exactly. And then you work with this, with the pleats. So just from taking the inside of the scarf rather than the outside, the part that's here, you take it from the inside rather. It makes all the difference. So I'm just going to pin this up.
How important is it to keep a scarf cap on underneath?
I would say very important for me. It keeps your stability. That's why you'd find most of the time my scarf wouldn't fall off. I do have my moments when I decide not to wear a scarf cap. But yeah, I would definitely say a scarf cap is very important. That's like your foundation. Like the primer, I would say, is your foundation.
I love the fabric and how easily this fabric drapes.
Yeah. So as you're going along, you're just going to pleat. So you can see the natural tendency of this fabric. If you have to pull it from here, it's naturally creating the pleats. You don't even have to do that. So that's exactly what you're going to just let it do what it wants to do. And then that's when you just pin it. Yeah, and you can just pin it up here.
Fantastic.
So that's one look. Now the second look we're going to go into is what I'm wearing right now, which is very easy, and especially for moms and for any woman, for instance, who wants to go out, especially campus students. You just want to get out of the house as quickly as possible. So you want your scarf to be neat and at the same time put together. So I would first make the one side short and the other side long. So you can still place the length of it. And then again, you would take it around. So this portion, not the part that's on your head, you would take the inner corner. And again, you'll go all the way around. Keep pulling it till it comes all the way around here. And then you're going to take this longer piece and you're going to do the exact same thing. Now you could do this edge and do it around. Can you see the look it gives? And then, or you could do this here, but I think it just covers up. Can you see? So choose to not do your normal way, rather do what you normally wouldn't and do that length and then work with the drapes.
Wow.
And then all you have to do is just bring it to the front. And this would be complete. She can always just tuck this into her scarf and she can pin it down if she wants to, just around the side. You can pin it onto the scarf and then you're ready to go.
And I love how light and how easy this looks.
Yeah, it's not choking her neck at least. No pins. Yeah.
We haven't given Nabila a mic, but I'll ask Nabila and then we'll tell you what she says. How is that feeling on you? It doesn't feel too heavy?
It feels very light and very airy. I think for summertime this
it's perfect.
Really
fantastic. All right, so Nabila says very light and very airy, so it works for the hot days that we have ahead of us.
Yeah, I think if she's happy, then
absolutely,
it's working. Okay, so we're going to go for a silky fabric now. I'm going to show you the Turkish style,
Yes.
which is also another easy style to just pull off. And you know these scarves are really slippery. If you can feel this,
This is why I
silk,
always
yeah.
say these ones I struggle tremendously with, because I always find they just slip right
Yeah,
off.
and the key to that is, besides draping, you need to pin into the right places, and how you're pinning as well. A lot of people pin upwards as well, so it tends to pull down. So if you need it to be pinned down and you want your scarf to sit down, you know, put your pin down. It makes a difference, yeah.
So you learn different tricks every day.
Okay, so now I'm going to go again. I'm going to go again with a shorter side and a longer side. You're going to pull it all to the front. And this time, for the Turkish style, all she has to do is just pin it to the side. I could either use, for instance, the office pins, the straight pins. I'm going to have Nabila hold this for me. Thank you.
So these are something that you definitely should be keeping in your scarf kit.
See, we could actually do this. Now, most people don't like this fold in the center. So all you have to do is just pull your scarf a little bit back. So it creates that natural point. There we go.
And then just make sure you pin it down. So when
So-
I looked at Wasima's kit earlier, I suggested to her that she actually needs to have these kits prepared for many of us who wear scarf, because I think it's such a wonderful idea to have everything in one little box that keeps a wide variety of pins, headbands, everything that you could
absolutely.
possibly need for scarves.
Well, I could tell you what you need in your kit as well. Yes, but with the kits, I usually, you can see I carry lots of glue, for instance, for like diamantes and things of that sort. I practically stick it on my clients at occasions. I also use lace patches. So
Fantastic.
I usually have them, like if they have their outfits designed, then I would just tell them to keep a lace patch. So that way they can, you know, add it to their scarf and then just create a uniform look. So now I've just draped it around her neck. I've just taken the longer side and I've gone around, and all I do is just tuck it in here. And you're good to go. You can always pin this more if you wanted to. This is going to stay on the head. And if she
Beautiful.
wants to do a point, all you have to do is just pinch this part and it'll give you a little bit of a point. Most of us want to make sure that it's straight. I can't really see the center of her head. So yeah, so we just pin this up here. The other thing people are using right now is starch sprays. So they just spray it up there and they keep the point.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even know you could do that.
Yes. So this is the Turkish style, and now we're going to go on to something else that's also pretty easy. This was cool, right, Nabila?
It was so cool.
And this is a way to make sure that your soft, silky scarves can still be used without slipping off your head. I think many of us have so many different types of scarves at home and different fabrics, and this is making sure we get to use all of them in various styles.
So this is another fabric.
Oh, I love this one.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
So this one is a lot wider and a lot longer, so especially if you want to know what to do with those kind of scarves, I would actually use the length of the scarf to my advantage. So I'm going to fold in, as you can see, there's the right side and there's the wrong side. So I folded, so I folded in part of the right side. So I'm going to place that on her head. So we're going to center it. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull this part, because you're not going to be able to, you know, when the scarf is really long, it's going to fall back. You're not going to be able to work with it. So you need to pull it to the front. And then simply what we would do is, there's the raw edge here, so you're not going to pull it there, you're going to pull it here. And I'm just going to do this. Push the one side to there, and then pinch the other side just the same way. This is just to give her some neck coverage.
Yes.
And then you would pin that down either on, sorry Nabila. Okay. So we're just going to pin this down. You can pin this onto your scarf cap. Right now I've just got like, usually the ninja underscap usually helps, I would say.
Yes.
So
What is the difference between the undercaps and the scarf bands?
well, it depends on preference, I feel. Lots of people like the scarf band. I usually like the scarf cap because I feel I don't want my, if I'm using a volumizer, I don't want it to be showing.
Yes.
Or if I'm not using one, I usually prefer, you know, for my hair to have, the base is very important. You want it to look nice and uniform and complete. And often I find the band, when people tie their scarves tight, you find that line.
Yes.
You find that little line, yeah. So, okay, so now that we've done that, we've done the neck coverage, you can pull the scarf from either this side or from the other side, and you simply have to drape it around the neck, that's it. And that is done. So she would just be able to do this. And she can always tuck it in here at the back, or she can even pin it up if she wanted to. And that would be the completed look. And she can, as usual with the Turkish style, just as I did, you can always pin it up here on either side of the head, do the point again.
It's fantastic. I'm watching how that looks as well, and it looks absolutely beautiful.
And it was simple, just using the width of the scarf on your head because it's so long.
Yes, and I think many of us have forgotten just simple pinning and what a difference that makes in holding it in exactly the same place that you want it.
Yes, and I think a lot of the time people, when we are at home, we just have this one-way mentality. This is how it should be,
Yes.
and this is how it's going to
I
be
think
all
we
the
get
time.
comfortable. That's me. I think we get comfortable in
So
these
we
things.
don't think we're supposed to pin it anywhere
Yes.
else. Like, for example, if you're wearing glasses, you're not going to pin it right there by your ears. You want to have your, you know,
Yes.
the arm of the glasses going through. So you'll pin it up a little higher, and that's just going to make it a lot more easier.
Absolutely.
You
And
know,
I think I love the tip also about the direction in which you're pinning the scarf.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, so this one is a turban style.
Perfect.
Something you're not really a fan of? Or a
No,
fan
I
of?
love it.
You
I
love it.
absolutely, but I just can't get it right. So I end up using ready-made turbans because I struggle with doing the scarves in the shape
Can you
of a
put your head
turban.
down for me? This one, if you want to show up to Fashion Week like this, I think it's okay. Nabila knows exactly what I'm talking. She's
These are
laughing.
for all these young, trendy varsity girls that are heading off for Fashion Week.
You can do it. You can do it too.
I need to practice this to make sure that I can get this off.
Okay, so I think you can do it, definitely. It just takes a little bit of practice. So I'm just doing a normal knot here. I know most people would do the normal knot and they would, you know,
Yes.
wrap it around. That's your normal turban. So instead of doing that, can I have you put your head up? You can always hide your scarf cap as well. So I'm going to leave this for now. I'm going to push these two to the back. And we're going to do another knot.
And then pulling it.
And then I'm going to pull this to the back, all the way around the knot. And I'm going to tuck this in here. Now you can pin this down for more stability,
Yes.
because you want it to be pinned down a lot more. And then we're going to work this. You can always twist this if you want to a neater
Yes.
look.
Yes.
And then you can tuck it in. Or you can create little pleats to give
And
more
put that down.
dimension.
Perfect. I think while Wasima ends up doing the last draping of the scarf, we've seen this one here, alhamdulillah. It's absolutely wonderful. And I see what you mean by the Fashion Week content. So we'll get her to drape the last one, but we won't. We'll have to show that on our Instagram accounts afterwards. So you can start and go ahead while we close up. Wasima, it's been such a pleasure to have you here with us in
Jazakallah
studio
so
to tell us
much.
so much about it. Unfortunately, we've run short on time. There's no doubt that we wanted to show you far more scarf styling tips, but I promise you, we will show you a few on our Instagram accounts that we will put up. We thank Nabila and Wasima for being in our studio today, and I promise you we'll make sure she comes back again, and we'll have a longer segment where we do far more scarf styling, because I know this is what many people have been waiting for. Shukran so much for joining us on air this week. It's been such a pleasure to be with you once again, and we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
من زينة الإيمان أن السلام